Hi there, Magical Mr. C. I am at Ohio today, a town called Youngstown, Ohio, so it's not very far from the Pennsylvania border, but I'm on my very first tour of the calendar year 2025, and I wanted to make a special video as a shout out to a friend of mine by the name of Joe LaRosa, who happens to watch my channel, and hopefully not only will he gain something out of this, but all the rest of you will too. So I wanted to talk about some of the ins and outs of being a full-time professional magician. What is the inner workings? What are the guts? What does it involve being a full-time professional magician such as myself? Well, I got to thinking about that actually, and I come up with 3 different points about it. The first is show business, the second is service industry, and the third is sacrifice. So, to kind of give a little bit more of a context as to why I chose those 3 topic items, you must understand that magic is a very, very big conglomeration. You can call yourself a professional magician if, for example, you publish books or magazine articles, whatnot, and get paid for it if it's magic related, yes. If you're a historian, a magic historian, and you're getting paid to produce and teach the history of magic, you can call yourself a professional magician. Or if you sell product, magic tricks and whatnot, or if you do lectures in the art of magic or teach magic and you do this and get paid for it, you can call yourself a professional magician. But the general public labels a professional magician as one that goes out and actually does magic shows. And so it is with this context that we approach these topic items. And that is the first being that it's show business. What we do as professional magicians are show business, which is why that even though the magic community is pretty large, it consists of 2 different types of people, personnel. The first being the professional magician. That covers both the part-time and the full-time professional. The second includes the hobbyists, which includes the amateur and the hobbyist or enthusiast in magic. And these 2 types of people, personages, are very vast in worldview. And let me explain why. We are attracted to magic, whether you're a professional or hobbyist, by one thing. And some of these clubs can say, oh, it's because of our brotherhood, we're a community, we're like-minded, we're like-minded. Yes, we're like-minded on one thing, and it's very, if you boil it down, it's just the tricks. Period. We like tricks. Professional magicians like tricks. Amateurs and enthusiasts, they like tricks. With a hobbyist or an enthusiast, the trick is everything. They love to watch a trick. They love to learn a trick. They love to learn the ins and outs of a trick. They like to learn the history of the trick. They like to learn all that they can about the trick, if for no other reason, just to know. But assuming that they want to actually practice a trick and actually learn the techniques and get proficient at it, they may do that for a while and even have the courage to perform that particular trick to a friend or a spouse or some other acquaintance, maybe even take that extra step and perform it in front of a crowd of people like at a magic club. Ooh, wouldn't that be something? Well, that trick gets some mileage, admittedly, but eventually the trick will become stale to the enthusiast because it's been performed so many times. Oh, I'm tired of the trick. Put it away. So they put it away until the next trick comes along and then they're excited again. But that trick that was put away gets put away and forgotten about for decades even. And that's not the same motivation that a professional has. A professional's motivation on a trick is completely different from that of an enthusiast. The enthusiast has the liberty to put down a trick if they want to, or pick up a different trick, or learn a different technique, or what have you, just for the fun of it. And it is fun. It is really, really fun. Just to do magic just for the sake of doing it is a ball. I love it. If I were an enthusiast, and I am, alone, I would be happy just doing that. I mean, I really would. But I have this drive, this ambition to be a professional magician. So I look at tricks at a completely different way. And here's how I look at it. I look at the trick not as the end of all. The trick is only a part of the act. It's a part of a bigger picture. It's a part of a bigger play, as it were. So I look at a trick and I evaluate whether that trick is going to be practical for the act. And if it crosses that threshold, I start working at the trick and trying to hone the trick in. Not for me to hone into the trick, but the trick to hone into me. And so I learned the best way of both handling it, its angles, and the whole shoot match. I make the effect work for the act. Whether I gotta tweak it in one way or another, I make it work for the act so that it fits into the bigger picture. I work it into the routine to get it into the act. That's the bigger picture. And that may take years. In fact, it often does take years. Some of my signature effects took years and years to hone it, to bring it into a routine, and to make it really sell in the act, okay? I'll give you an example from my past. When I first broke into the business, maybe about 2 or 3 years into the business, I was using an effect called the 20th Century Silks. It's a classic of magic. It's very beautiful. The effect goes, for those of you that don't know, the effect goes is that a pair of colored handkerchiefs are tied together and put into a pocket or a glass or something. You get to see those handkerchiefs exposed pretty much. And then you take another handkerchief and you cause that handkerchief to disappear, and then you reveal the other two handkerchiefs to have tied in the middle that handkerchief that had disappeared into thin air. And it's an amazing effect. It's called the 20th Century Silks. Well, there are various ways to vanish that silk. You can do it barehanded. You can use a utility prop. And so when I was doing it, this magic club in Albany, Oregon, was performing it using a utility prop. And a great amateur magician who was a retired professor at the University of Oregon, his name is Ray Hyman. Very, very good friends with the late, great Jerry Andrus. In fact, I think he might have even been his best friend. But in any case, Ray Hyman liked what I did, but he pulled me aside and said, you know, you're a person of great skill. Why couldn't you just vanish the silk in your hand without the prop? So I tried it. My next show that I did, I vanished the silk barehanded. People were impressed, but they were more impressed with the utility prop. I don't know why. It's maybe the psychology. Maybe the client says, hey, I'm paying for these big props, so use them big props. Some clients are like that. Some people like the mystery of the unusual looking box or the crazy looking bag. They like that. They like the color of it. They like the absurdity of it, maybe. Well, I stuck with the utility prop, and sometimes I go back and forth. Sometimes it's a box, sometimes it's a bag, sometimes it's a tube. It varies. But I get a better reaction, believe it or not. I give it a better reaction with the utility prop to a general audience. Now, if I'm performing for magicians, sure, magicians will say, hey, that's a great vanish from barehanded. Wow, that's really great. Great. I can do it better, but hey, that's a great effort. Woohoo! All right, wonderful. Fine, I'll do it for magicians that way. But for the general public, I'm going to use a utility prop because that's what my audience wants. I'm there to entertain an audience, you see, and so that gets me to my second point, and that is this is a service industry. When I first broke into the business, I had an agent that booked me in a very strange location in New York City. Now, there's a lot of strange areas in New York City, believe me. But I may have been, well, maybe 4 years into the business, and so I really didn't have the kind of experience that, well, I'll just tell the story. I got into this really cramped location to do the act, and I didn't have very good parking conditions. This is New York City. I didn't have very good conditions getting the props to the location. I had to take stairs, so it required, there was no ramps. I had to take the stairs, so I had to do a lot of lugging. I didn't like that. I didn't have a dressing area to, and when I was setting up in front of everybody. All of those performing conditions, and the fact that I was put in this tight little spot. I was literally surrounded. I had a hard time moving. So I was hollering at my agent, why'd you book me here and this and that? And he woke me up to reality. Show business is a service industry. You are not the star of the show, your audience is. And that woke me up really quickly. So if you get tired of hearing these celebrities drone on and on about their life and virtue signaling and being all these narcissistic bores, fear not. Their career is going to shortly turn into irrelevancy. And that's true with every entertainer. Once you start thinking that it's about you and not about the audience, you will soon find yourself at the bitter end of irrelevancy. So I look at this particular business as a service industry. And let me tell you, it's hard work because you want to bring out your very best, but it's for the audience. It's not about you, it's about your audience. And then the final thing is that it is a sacrifice. So what exactly am I sacrificing? Am I sacrificing my self-respect? In some ways, yeah. Am I sacrificing my time and effort and resource? Yes, a lot of it. But one thing that you are sacrificing is your future. What I mean is that you are your own pension. So, a little dirty, rotten little secret. Most professional magicians are part-time, or they have a spouse that has a full-time job, one of the two. I'll say it again, most professional magicians are part-time, or they have a spouse that works full-time. They always have some sort of income coming in, because this is a very, very hard business to work. Show business in general is a hard business to work, but performing professional magic on a full-time basis is very much a grind every day, day in and day out. You are your own pension. You are your own medical insurance, all of it. So if you want a pension, wonderful. Might I encourage you to find a job that'll pay you a pension and do magic professionally part-time. That way, that drive to perform magic is satisfied, while at the same time, you're able to save up for a rainy day pension. Why I do this full time, that is another story for another time, ladies and gentlemen. If you really want me to tell you my backstory of how I got started full time in this business, please hit the comments below. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. My name is The Magical Mr. C. I'll make a separate video about this Ohio tour, and I'm also making a video this coming weekend, about a show that I did over in the Boondocks in Pennsylvania. I hope you stay tuned. All right. Again, this is Magical Mr. C. We'll talk later. Bye.